Yeah, so a couple of reminders. You can find the questions.weblab.2/questions and ask for help on weblab.2/Q. And yeah, okay. So very importantly, today at midnight EST, so 11:59, milestone 0 is due. So basically, this one is where you submit 10 ideas. Only the first 3 have to be like actually fleshed out, like more like a couple sentences, while the other 7 can just be like 1 sentence. And you need to form your team by then too. This is you can have a team of up to 3. 1-person teams are okay, 2-person teams are okay, 3-person teams are okay. And yeah. So you have to, as a reminder, you need to complete all the milestones to receive credit or enter the competition. So make sure you register on portal.weblab.2. You can find the milestone 0 form there. You can find it on Piazza, but make sure you submit that by tonight. And we're going to make this a hard deadline since we are very over enrolled this year. If you don't submit this milestone 0 form, we will assume you're going to drop the class, and you probably don't want that. So yeah, and regarding like amount of effort you need to put into these submissions, like you do need to put some amount of effort in since it is a 6-unit class, and we're pretty lenient on grading. So make sure you submit something on your form, like like 10 ideas. They don't have to be great. They can be a starting point, but you can't submit to us a form that says, sorry, I don't have any ideas, because I've seen a little bit of those already. And if you don't have a team, we will open up today's office hours as for you to come like mingle with others and help find a team. We're hosting that in GatherTown. Same thing as like last Saturday. So you can come there to look for a team. You can come there if you need help from a TA to get help about your 10 ideas. And yeah, so this will be due tonight. You can find this also on our website for more details about the milestone. But yeah, so without further ado, I will continue the lecture today. First one will be about design and wireframing. So, okay, awesome. So, why do we care about design? Can anyone tell me? Okay. Yeah, make things pretty. Aesthetics is fun. Accessibility, yeah, that's a good one. Usability. People will indeed look at your website. This is true. Graphic design is your passion. Ooh, that's a great one. And yeah, those are all correct. Basically, design will either drive your users to stay or go away. So if your design is good, you'll get more users, and people like that. If your design is bad, no one will look at your website. So today we'll teach you what makes good design and how you can like make your website get there. So have people heard of these terms before in UI UX? And if so, can you tell me what they stand for? Anyone? No? Yeah, user interface, user experience. Great. Awesome. So let's go over user interface first. So this is the design of the interface between the user and the product. It is what the user directly sees on your website. So this can be like layouts, colors, color schemes, fonts, all that stuff. So I'm gonna walk through an example of what can happen if you don't have good design, you don't have wireframes. For example, so this summer I worked on something called GatherTown. It started out looking like this. No design, no wireframes. Looks a bit, it doesn't make me feel good, looking at it. So next, we made like a couple wireframes, put together something look like this. You can tell it's like a lot better than the last one. And I'll go over into detail about what things can help make your website look better. And then finally, when we decided to make real wireframes, about like 100 of them, GatherTown looked something like this. And you can see like the very different vibes you get from these 3 different, like they all increase in quality, I think, but the last one is definitely the best one, as it had a lot of fleshed out designs. It had like a design system. It had like consistent colors, consistent fonts, and the layout just felt like nice. And yeah, we also changed it to dark mode because that seems to be the standard of the internet these days. I'll give you another example. So if anyone remembers MIT, really old website, looks kind of like this. It doesn't look great either. I'll give a couple examples. Like this probably isn't the best picture to choose. It's not even centered on the page, first of all. We have this janky go button. And yeah, let me turn on my annotating tool. Okay, that didn't work, whatever. But yeah, so MIT then redesigned their website. It looks something like this now. It makes you feel good inside. But you can see they have a nav bar. They chose like a nice, cleaner font. And then like, look, they have a very nice search bar. It's like a lot easier to find information now too, versus the old one where it's like, this is a lot more cleaner because people usually use nav bars for navigation, and they make the important parts of the website stand out, which is the search bar. Like people want to find information fast, so that's where they would go. And yeah, so, and now I'm going to move on to user experience, so which is like experience using the product, which is a little different from UI, which is what they're viewing and seeing with their eyes. This is how like you mimic like flows between the document and like how you navigate from maybe your settings to here or to another page on the website, things like that. Like, is it product easy to use? And yeah, so here's an example. You can tell these two things look different. So like UI is definitely different. And the UX is also different. One of them, you have to like, I think, squeeze to get out. The other one, you have to like shake really hard. But two of them look different and they have different experiences on how to use it. So you can kind of think of this as like the UI and UX. So talking about visual design. So good design will convey identity. So if websites will stand out and look good and be from others if you can. So for example, let's look at this one. It looks kind of generic. Like we have like generic buttons like back to Untamed, learn more. The font's like, I think it's just a generic Arial. But yeah, and then this one looks very similar. Look, they have like the same nav bar. It's like black on the top with those links, and then they kind of also have a jumbo headline, some headings. These don't look really that different from each other. And something we'll go over is something called Bootstrap. This is a UI library that we'll go over sometime next week that we do encourage like beginners to use. But if you want your website to stand out, we recommend do your own CSS style. So Bootstrap is good for consistency in basic layouts because they have components that you can just reuse over and over, which is good on your website. And they'll help you lay out your website. They'll have easy ways to make your things align in columns, grids, whatever, things like that. But again, bad for standing out because if everyone uses this UI library, then you can imagine all of their websites look the same. So let's take a look at these. These look, this website already looks a lot different from the last ones we saw. So you can see they have their own nav bar. They took their own flair on it. So if you're on the home page, they make it blue and they underline it. So that's an example. They have a different color scheme, which is like this blue, black, and white. And they chose a different font. And yeah, if we look at this one, this is already very different from the last one. They chose to make a whole background image, like the website. I'm guessing they're trying to sell something. They also have their own font. They have the nav bar at the top and a big button here. And also this one looks very different. Again, another different font, different work on the nav bar. And yeah. So things you want to keep in mind when you're designing a website is fonts. So what kind of font you choose will have an effect on your website. For example, if you use Comic Sans, that's a different vibe from if you use like Open Sans or something like that. And color palettes, you shouldn't use like really aggressive colors that hurt the user's eyes or like clashing color schemes. And you should pay attention to shapes, which is like the layouts on. Yes, Comic Sans is Tommy's favorite font. And yeah, so this is an example of a color scheme. This is one of like Google Maps, like traffic things. but you can see they chose like, they didn't use like any basic CSS colors here. So you're not gonna see them using like color blue or like color red. Those are like the really basic ones that don't look that good. They're very aggressive. But here they use like a very muted blue, another like a dull red, and then they contrast that with the orange. And it looks really good. Like you can like see the traffic and road lines here really well. And the colors here like match really well together. But yeah, so good design will also convey importance. So we're gonna go to a bad example of this. So I personally don't think this is a good example of good UI because there's a lot going on here. First of all, there's a lot of text. There's a lot of colors. There's a different font for every box. Like, I don't know, like, I get this is about the Arrive Alive Driving Academy, but what else is there to it? Like classes fill rapidly, call now has like the same importance as like direction to classes. These two obviously probably shouldn't be together on the same page or different things, but because of the size and where they are on the page, and like they convey the same importance. You probably want to make the important parts on any single page of your website stand out. So this is bad. Don't do this. Now we're going to take a look at something I think looks nice, which is the Discord app. So this is a Discord homepage when you can download their app, and you can see their navbars up there. But what's important on the screen is they have two buttons here: download for Mac OS and open Discord, which is what they're trying to get you to do when you're on this web page. So you can say that they have like chat play and discovery games with your friends. This is obviously like what they're trying to sell to you. They want you to download it for this specific reason. It's like a talking app, and then they conveniently attach the download button for you to click and open. So yeah, you want something like this. It's a lot cleaner. You can see there's some white space on the left and right. It's not too cluttered. And color scheme here is good. They use like black, white, blue, a little like accents of green and yellow. And I think that's really nice. And yeah, so TLDR, bad UX. You can see on the left, it's just clutter. While good UX, it's like a lot cleaner and simpler. So, and also things you need to keep in note is like usability and learnability. And yeah, take time, we move on. Okay. So good design also conveys emotion. So remember how I talked about UX, the user experience, which is how like the user feels when they're using your product. Like, is it easy to learn? Is it intuitive? Like, so UX should make the user feel good. And this like essentially means like emotion. Do they want to come back to your website? We don't know. So you can see Airbnb's very, very old website. This is probably one of their first prototypes. It doesn't look that great. Like, it's a little cluttered, a little boxy, but like when people are trying to find a place to stay, they want to feel homey. Like, they want to feel like they're going to rent like they're going to be literally living like in one of these homes that they're trying to look for. So Airbnb's job as a website should be able to sell those homes as best as they can. So with the new redesign, you can see that their logo is literally like an upside down heart, and like they design like their own logo. They have like text that says "Welcome home." You know, that feels pretty homey to me, and it's like a lot more clear, a lot more visuals that really help the user feel like what they're looking for. And you can see you have like start your adventure, which is like talking very specifically to the user. And it's like, we've chosen locations you'll love around the world. And then they list all these homes. And yeah, so this is how they did their logo redesign. They drew people like that. They combined like places, a little pin with a heart. And then that's kind of how this logo came about. But yeah, one more thing is like animations. So animations can really make you feel like good. So this is an example of, I think, the Twitter, like the heart react button. So you click it and literally confetti goes on the sides. Like, this is pretty fun to do. I like watching this. It makes you feel good. And yeah, so you basically, like, the core of design is to make the user experience enjoyable and make it like visually appealing for the user to look at, because that's how you draw more users. And yeah. So Now we're going to talk about how you can get your websites to do that. And of course, part of this is wireframing. So does anyone know what wireframing is? And if so, you could just shout it out, put it in the chat. If not, it's fine. I'll teach you what it is. But okay. Yeah, sketches of different features, parts of the design layout. That one's good. Yeah. So basically, it's like the skeleton for the UI of your website. It's a very critical part of the design process. Again, I showed you what happens when you don't. So I would not skip this step. In fact, milestone 1 on this weekend is where you submit your wireframes for the staff to review. This should probably like encapsulate like the MVP, the core features of your product. You should have like a mock or wireframe for each like important component of your app. So yeah, it kind of looks like this. So you can see this might be a Facebook wireframe. There's nothing like very like, you can see they're laying out the news feed, the chat bar and stuff. And you can see you can have also wireframes for your mobile apps, kind of like mocks the flow of information. So it tells you if you click on this button, you should go here. It should look like this at this step, yada, yada, yada. Okay. And they should be pretty drafty. Like you should, like, this is fine. This is like, you can do it in pen and paper. Like they don't need to be that, they don't need to look like your exact website at the end. Yeah, again, mocking up the flow and layout information. So I'll talk about what the flow means. So in here, we have two different places we can navigate. We can click the alumni tab, which will probably bring us to, I don't know, like an alumni page. And then we can also enter a search in the search bar, which will also bring us to, I don't know, a search page. So let's say we go in the search place and then we enter the word donate and brings up this thing, which is called Giving MIT. And you click on it, and then it goes here to this web page. So, however, when you click on the alumni tab, it brings you to this page. But in the alumni page, you can see they have the generously support thing, which links back to this page that we just saw, Giving to MIT. So you can see like there's a lot of different ways to get to this one page, and like wireframes can help you like control like which flows and how to get there. So for example, this would be an example of like mocking up the flow. You can connect them with arrows. So we have alumni goes to this page, and then while clicking the search bar will bring you to the search results page, clicking to Giving to MIT, they'll all bring you back to this donation page. And you can draw arrows between your different mocks to bring you to the page. Yeah, so today we'll go over briefly, how do I make a wireframe? Well, today I'll be showing you how to use Figma, which is a free tool. You guys can get, like as students, you get like an education, so it's free. You can also use Google Slides. And if you want, or if you're a pen or paper person, you can also use the good old pen and paper. So yeah, let's do it. I'll show you guys how to make something super simple. So last semester I built, me and Jessica here built an app that helps you look for restaurants, and you can filter by COVID tags. We named it Gobble Gobble. So let me bring you there now. So this is Figma, the front page. Can you guys see this? So what you do, you basically click new file, and then you get a completely new file. There's nothing here yet. So what I'm going to show you to do, we wanted like a page, kind of like Yelp, kind of like Google when you look for restaurants. You want kind of a map view, you want a list of the restaurants on the right, and you probably want a navigation bar because, I don't know, I think this makes it easy to navigate. So the first thing to do, you want to open a frame, and a frame is just kind of like, it's literally like the box if you want. They already have custom frames here for you guys. So you have like different pixel sizes here. So I usually just use MacBook Pro because that is my laptop. And yeah, it's completely blank. It looks a little intimidating, but not to worry. We will. So first of all, I think having like basic white as the background is a little aggressive. I usually like doing a nice off-white color. So even changing it just by just a little can help. Let's say I want to do a nav bar. I can easily do that by doing a rectangle and just drawing it. And I think that gray is not a good color. So maybe I want to make my nav bar, I don't know, this color. Oh God, I can't see anything. But you can also add effects here. So I encourage you to play with this. You can add like a little drop shadow, but I don't like this color. So for the nav bar, I'm going to make it a little more white. Change the background a little bit. It's a little too dark. Oh no. Okay, there we go. Okay, cool. So we also have, Figma also has a lot of like plugins you can use to get things on your website. So they have like built-in emojis that you can use or icons that you can upon. Plugins like a map, they can literally just put a map on the screen instead of you having to like screenshot Google Maps. So let's just say we put in like MIT's address. 77 Mass Ave. We make map. Oh, pretty dope. So you can drag it to be the size you want. And you do have to keep in mind, like the order matters here. So like the way you're stacking your elements, you do have to keep in mind. I think this should go behind the nav bar. Yeah, it looks like something like that. And I can fill in the nav bar later. And maybe the next thing I want to do is to actually add like a list of restaurants here. So what I can do, let's make some text. So yeah, a text box here. And let's just have something called like Flower Bakery and Cafe. Already, this is the wrong font size. It's way too small for the page. I'm going to choose a different font that I personally like, DM Sans. And what you can do, I recommend, you can create custom text styles in Figma that they will save and you can reuse across your application. One thing I think is good is you can recreate like a reusable class, like CSS class or React class, has different levels of heading, like H1, H2, H3, that has your own personal styles in it. In this case, let's make this medium, so a little bolder, and let's make this a little bigger. Oh, that's a little too, like 18. Okay, cool. And then you can zoom in just by pinching in or doing this, things like that. Okay, so, and then you can add text like this. So let's have this be like H3. All headers are usually full. And then later on, you can just use that style by clicking it. Let's also call it, let's say it's a bakery. I'm going to move this later. I want to make this a little muted. So, because, yeah. Other things I can put, like, I don't know, their address or something. 190 Massachusetts Avenue. This is not big enough. And maybe I also put like, I don't know, a phone number here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1. Okay, cool. Looks fine to me. Maybe you want to add like a heart here to have people to favorite a restaurant. So what you do is, I think what I do is look up Figma material icons. Again, this website has like everything for you. And you can kind of just open their icons and drag them over to your app. So a lot of these here, I'm going to copy them over. Yes, we stand flower here. Okay, I'm going to copy this over. Yeah. And you can, it's very similar to Google Slides. You know, when you're dragging around, you can see like the orange lines tells you when it's a line. And things you can do is you can group things together. I use shift. You can do shift and click to group it, and you can click group. And then you can kind of just drag it here. And yada, yada, yada. Oh no, okay. There we go. Cool. Great. Say maybe we actually want to filter by tag. So I'm going to move all of these down a bit. And maybe a tag I want is saying like, I want to look for only, let's say like fast food. What I can do, I leave that up there. I can have a box that surrounds it. Like I'm thinking of those little like pill tags. I'm gonna make this transparent. We're gonna remove the fill, but I'm gonna add a stroke. A stroke is what they call like a border. Oh, it's awful. I don't like that. So first of all, I'm gonna change the stroke to be something very light. Maybe not that light. Maybe a little darker. Cool, and I think it's a little too boxy. So you can just change something up here. You can see I hovered over, it's called corner radius. So I'm gonna add like a corner radius of like, I don't know, 20. Nope, that's not circling enough. 24, cool. And I probably want the pills to look a little more standouty. So I might fill this rectangle here with white. That means I need to bring this guy in front of it. And I can group these guys. Oh, God. Okay, Command G. You can do that, something like that. Yeah. Border radius is very important. Claire also agrees. I think sharp edges are kind of off-putting to a user. So if you just use like literal boxes, it's not good. It's not a good vibe. Things you can also do in Figma, there's something called prototype. This is kind of like linking your different frames together. So this is one frame, right? So we have MacBook Pro. You can rename it just by double clicking it. For sake of time, I'm not going to do that. But yeah, this I just showed you like how to basically make a frame. There's a lot of good Figma tutorials out there. I'm not a power user of this by any chance, but I think once you know how to create something that looks sort of decent, like your website will start being in a good place. So like examples is you can start making even bigger wireframes. So you can see that these are all linked, and you can make reusable components. So you can see here, if it has these little 4 dots, it's a component. So if I edit one of these and I had copied it into other places, it'll edit that place too, which is pretty dope. And once you set up the prototype, so if I click this, look at all the arrows between my app. So you can see that, you know, the login and the sign up both lead to the dashboard, things like that. And you can connect these with the prototype tool by simply clicking on it and adding it here. I can go over this more in detail in office hours, or you can look up Figma tutorials online. That is the best way to learn. But yeah, this will conclude the wireframing lecture. But you can find more resources on our resources tab on the weblab.mit.edu website, and you will need to submit some version of wireframes on Saturday, which is milestone 1. And if you think Figma is too hard to use, you can also use Google Slides, or you can use pen and paper.